The pressure is not just on the matric pupils succeeding after a tough 2 years. Teachers are also under immense strain as they prepare classes for their matric finals in less than a month. Let's check in on how the teachers are doing with the National Professional Teachers Organization. Basil Manuel is the executive director. Basil, thanks a lot for joining us. We just heard from two pupils at Steenberg High School in Cape Town who were saying they could tell their teachers were under pressure and that affected the quality of education they were getting. Is that the same sense you've gotten from the educators you've been speaking to?
Good morning and thanks for having me. Absolutely. You've just got to focus for a second on the pressure learners were on, and then you would see that that pressure is automatically transferred to the teacher because the teacher has to deal with that pressure. And when you talk about starting the year with a deficit, you've got to make a plan about how you're going to make up that deficit. Lessons not taught because of a curtailed curriculum, building blocks not there because of the curtailed curriculum, which we know was necessary. But now you've got to make it happen. And fortunately, we had all the school days this year for the matriculant, but the amount of work, and of course, that played out with pressure. Noting that not everybody handles pressure in the same way, some people have had a really, really rough ride. And of course, given that support structures are not always there. So our teachers have come to us with various things, such as the simple pressure to get all the work done. And some have not made it. That's the unfortunate reality. The majority have spent weekends, every holiday, and so that piles on even more pressure because everybody needs a break. Otherwise you crack under the strain, and that is where we're at, and that is generally the message. People feel that it was a year of sweating through to try and get the job done.
You mentioned there, Basil, that some of the teachers were not able to get through the work they needed to. What happens to those students who are in that situation where now they have to write exams but they're quite frankly not ready?
The vast majority of teachers will tell you that they've done everything they could possibly do. A teacher I spoke to in a difficult to teach at school because of gangsterism, where being on a Saturday at school, just herself and one or two other teachers and the learners set them up, and it was dangerous to be there. So that option was not always open to them. So it's not about not wanting to. Sometimes you just couldn't. And then, of course, we've had learners who had fallen ill. I was in Umbumbulu a couple of weeks ago where a teacher told me that he's had so many learners infected that they've missed out, and he didn't have the luxury of going back to teach that. So yes, some will be more prepared than others, but I think we've got to take a lesson. And the lesson is that our people are resilient. They've done a lot more than most people would give them credit for, and that the few who are not ready, who are not as ready as they should be, those are the ones that are now under pressure with their teachers, because the teachers are still trying. And even when exams start and we have those 3 days when they don't write on the 3rd, and then of course the Monday and Tuesday, we will see teachers still teaching lessons. So it's not over until it's over.
Well, Basil, we thank all of those teachers who went above and beyond the call of duty to try and get the class of 2021 ready for matric. We appreciate it. That was Basil Manuel of Naptosa.